Today, in this video, we'll explore the 8 Islamic ways to completely destroy your enemy that might sound disturbing and doubtful, but I promise that by the end of the video, you get a clear understanding and you might just save your life because you won't believe, but many of us are facing this even right now. Have you ever been in a situation where someone's words or actions made you want to explode with anger? Maybe it was a coworker, a so-called friend, or even a family member. They push your buttons, knowing exactly how to get under your skin, trying to provoke you into reacting. But here's the thing. The moment you react, you've already lost. You've handed them control over your emotions, over your peace of mind. Now, imagine if you could take that power back. Imagine if, no matter what they said or did, you stayed calm. Not because you're weak or scared, but because you're in control. When you stay calm, you're sending a clear message. You don't control me. I control me. And that's powerful. In Islam, staying calm isn't just recommended, it's essential. The Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, was the master of calmness. No matter how much people insulted him, no matter how much they tried to provoke him, he never let anger take over. He knew that reacting in anger would only give his enemies what they wanted. Instead, he stayed calm, and in doing so, he took away their power. There's a verse in the Quran that says, "And those who restrain anger and pardon people, Allah loves the doers of good." Surah Al-Imran 3:134. Think about that. Allah loves those who can control their anger. Why? Because when you control your anger, you control the situation. You rise above it. You show that you're stronger than the person trying to bring you down. But this isn't just about religious teachings. It's also about your health, your life. Studies have shown that people who frequently get angry are more likely to suffer from heart disease, high blood pressure, and even strokes. Staying calm isn't just good for your soul. It's good for your body too. I remember a time in my own life when I was dealing with someone who seemed to thrive on making me angry. Every interaction was a test of my patience. At first, I would get worked up, I would react, and it would only make things worse. But then, I started to change. I decided to stay calm, no matter what they said or did. And you know what happened? They lost their power over me. They couldn't get the reaction they wanted, and it drove them crazy. But more importantly, I felt stronger. I felt like I was finally in control, and that changed everything. But staying calm is just the beginning. What if I told you that the way you speak could be even more powerful than staying calm? But please hold for a minute. You won't believe my friend. But it takes a lot of effort and courage to make the video on this very harsh truth that no one wants to hear, and it's risky too. But for all my efforts and research, can I deserve only a subscribe from you? It only takes you 10 seconds, but for me, it matters a lot. Now, in Islam, speaking gently isn't just about being nice. It's a strategic move. The Quran says, "And speak to people good words," Surah Al-Baqarah, 2 hours, 83 minutes. It's not just a suggestion, it's a command. Why? Because speaking gently, even to your enemy, is a way to take control of the situation. It's a way to show that you are above their pettiness, above their anger. And here's the thing. When you speak gently, you force them to rethink their approach. They don't know how to handle it. It's like bringing a sword to a fight, only to find out that your opponent is wearing armor you can't pierce. I've seen this play out in my own life. There was a time when someone tried to ruin my reputation. They spread lies, trying to get others to turn against me. The natural reaction would have been to lash out, to defend myself with sharp words. But instead, I chose to speak gently. I responded with kindness, even when they were spitting venom. And do you know what happened? They couldn't handle it. Their aggression melted away, and soon, they had nothing left to say. It wasn't just about winning the argument. It was about showing everyone around us that I wasn't going to be dragged down to their level. And this isn't just about personal experiences. It's backed by research. Studies have shown that people who communicate calmly and gently, even in tense situations, are more likely to resolve conflicts peacefully and maintain stronger relationships. It's not just good advice. It's a proven strategy. But many people think that speaking gently means you're weak, that you're letting the other person win. But the truth is, it's the exact opposite. When you speak gently, you're showing that you're strong enough not to be dragged down by anger, that you're in control, not them. It's a way of saying, I'm better than this. I'm better than you. So, you've mastered the art of staying calm, and you've learned to speak gently, even when everything inside you wants to do the opposite. But let me ask you this. What happens when calmness and gentle words aren't enough? What do you do when your enemy won't back down? When they keep pushing, keep testing your limits? This is where the real power comes in, the power of justice. Now, let's be honest. When someone wrongs us, our first instinct isn't usually to think about justice. We want revenge. We want them to feel the pain they've caused us. But here's the catch. Revenge might feel good in the moment, but it doesn't last. It doesn't solve anything. In fact, it often makes things worse. That's where justice comes in. Justice is about doing what's right, even when it's the hardest thing to do. It's about holding your ground, but doing it in a way that no one can argue with. In Islam, justice isn't just an option, it's a requirement. The Quran says, "O you who have believed, be persistently standing firm in justice, witnesses for Allah, even if it be against yourselves or parents and relatives." Surah An-Nisa, 135. Think about that. Standing firm in justice, even when it's against your own interests, even when it's against those closest to you. That's the level of commitment Islam demands when it comes to justice. And when you apply this kind of justice, you're not just protecting yourself, you're dismantling your enemy's power. But here's where it gets really interesting. Justice isn't just about legal matters or big conflicts. It's about everyday actions, the small decisions you make that show you stand for something bigger. It's about treating everyone, even your enemy, with fairness. It's about not letting personal grudges cloud your judgment. And when you do this, you create a reputation for yourself that's unshakable. People start to see that you're not just reacting to the situation, you're leading it. And here's a fact. Studies have shown that leaders who are perceived as fair and just are more respected and more effective. They're the ones who can resolve conflicts without resorting to force, who can turn enemies into allies. That's the power of justice. It doesn't just protect you, it changes the entire game. But we're not done yet. Justice is a powerful tool, but what if I told you there's something even stronger, something that can break the cycle of conflict altogether? You've learned how to stay calm, speak gently, and stand firm in justice. But let me ask you, what do you do when the hurt runs deep? When did the betrayal feel like a knife in your back? How do you move forward when every part of you screams for revenge? This brings us to the most challenging, yet powerful method: forgiveness. Wait, forgiveness? Yes, you heard me right. Forgiveness. It sounds against what you would naturally expect or believe, doesn't it? Why should you forgive someone who has caused you so much pain? Someone who has tried to ruin your life? But here's the twist. Forgiveness isn't about letting them off the hook. It's about freeing yourself. I remember a time when someone I trusted betrayed me in the worst possible way. They took something precious from me, something I could never get back. The anger and bitterness consumed me. I couldn't sleep. I couldn't focus. My life revolved around this pain. I thought that holding on to this anger gave me power, that it kept me strong. But in reality, it was a poison eating me from the inside. Then, one day, I stumbled upon a verse in the Quran that changed everything. It said, "But if you pardon and overlook and forgive, then indeed, Allah is forgiving and merciful." Surah At-Tagabun, 64:14. It hit me like a bolt of lightning. I realized that by holding on to this anger, I was only hurting myself. I was giving my enemy power over my life, over my peace. So, I decided to forgive, not for them, but for me. And let me tell you, it wasn't easy. It took time, tears, and a lot of soul-searching. But when I finally let go, it felt like a weight had been lifted off my shoulders. I was free. Free from the anger, the bitterness, the constant pain. And in that freedom, I found strength. But forgiveness doesn't mean forgetting or allowing someone to hurt you again. It means letting go of the anger, the desire for revenge. It means choosing peace over conflict. And in doing so, you destroy your enemy, not by harming them, but by freeing yourself from their grip. So, you've mastered staying calm, speaking gently, standing firm in justice, and even finding the strength to forgive. But what comes next might surprise you. What if I told you that maintaining good relations with your enemy could be the key to truly defeating them? Sounds impossible, right? Why on earth would you want to keep any connection with someone who's hurt you, who's tried to tear you down? But that's exactly where the power lies. Think about it. How do most conflicts escalate? They start small, a spark that turns into a fire, fueled by anger, resentment, and misunderstanding. But what if you could stop that fire from spreading? What if you could smother it before it consumes everything in its path? Maintaining good relations, even with those who've wronged you, is like keeping that spark from becoming a blaze. In Islam, this approach is not just recommended, it's a way of life. The Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, said, "The best of you are those who have the best manners and character." Think about that for a moment. It's easy to be kind to those who are kind to you, but maintaining good relations with those who seek to harm you, that's a whole different level of strength. It's about showing that you are above their pettiness, that their actions don't define you. But let's not sugarcoat it. It's not easy. It takes strength to stay connected with someone who's wronged you. It takes wisdom to know when to extend a hand and when to pull it back. But many people think that keeping a relationship with an enemy is a sign of weakness, that it shows you're afraid to stand up for yourself. But the truth is, it's the exact opposite. It's a sign of strength, of control. You're not letting them push you away. You're keeping them close, showing them that their actions don't control you. And if you think this is where the story ends, think again. There's another method that goes even deeper, something that might challenge everything you've ever believed about strength and power. Let me ask you something. How often do we find ourselves reacting too quickly? How often do we let our emotions dictate our actions, only to regret it later? Patience isn't just about waiting, it's about enduring. In Islam, patience is not just a virtue, it's a sign of true strength. The Quran says, "Indeed, the patient will be given their reward without an account." Surah Az-Zumar 39:10. Think about that. Without account. It means that the rewards for patience are limitless, beyond anything we can imagine. And that's because patience is one of the hardest things to master. It's easy to react and easy to get angry, but it takes real strength to remain patient, to endure. Studies have shown that people who practice patience have better mental health, lower stress levels, and are more successful in achieving their long-term goals. It's not just about enduring pain. It's about outlasting your challenges and outthinking your opponents. Patience isn't passive, it's a strategy. But what do you do when you've done everything right and yet things still don't go your way? When the enemy seems to win despite your best efforts? This is where the seventh and most powerful method comes into play, trusting in Allah. Let's face it, there are moments in life when it feels like everything is against you. You've tried to stay calm. You've spoken kindly. You've been patient, and still, it seems like nothing is working. It's frustrating, it's disheartening, and it can make you feel like giving up. But this is exactly where trust, or tawakkul, becomes your greatest weapon. Trusting in Allah isn't about sitting back and doing nothing. It's about doing everything you can, using all the methods we've talked about, and then leaving the outcome in Allah's hands. I remember a time when I was going through something really tough. I had done everything I could to fix the situation. I had stayed calm. I had been patient. I had tried to make peace, but nothing seemed to work. It felt like I was hitting a wall every time. That's when I realized that I had to let go of trying to control everything and put my trust in Allah. It wasn't easy, letting go never is, but as soon as I did, things started to change. Maybe not in the way I expected, but in a way that was better for me in the long run. The Quran says, "And whoever relies upon Allah, then he is sufficient for him." Surah At-Talaq 65:3. Think about that. Allah is sufficient. It means that once you've done your part, once you've put in the effort, you don't have to worry about the outcome. Allah has your back. This trust is what gives you peace, even when the world is crumbling around you. But trusting in Allah doesn't mean you just sit back and accept defeat. It means you keep moving forward, knowing that whatever happens, you're not alone. It's about resilience, about bouncing back even when you've been knocked down. It's about knowing that, in the grand scheme of things, you will be okay. But here's the thing. There's one more method, one final piece of the puzzle that ties everything together. You've learned how to stay calm, speak gently, uphold justice, forgive, maintain good relations, be patient, and trust in Allah. But this last method is the ultimate weapon, the one that can truly destroy your enemy without you lifting a finger. Now, I know what you're thinking. Ignoring someone who's out to get you sounds like a cop-out, like you're just avoiding the problem. But ignoring your enemy is one of the most powerful moves you can make. Why? Because it takes away the one thing they crave the most, your attention. Let's be real. Your enemy thrives on your reaction. They want to see you upset. They want to know they've gotten under your skin. They feed off your anger, your frustration, your pain. But what happens when you refuse to give them what they want? What happens when you simply walk away, when you refuse to engage? They're left with nothing. They're powerless. They're exposed as the empty, insignificant force they truly are. The Quran offers wisdom on this too. In Surah Al-Furqan, it says, "And the servants of the Most Merciful are those who walk upon the earth easily, and when the ignorant address them harshly, they say words of peace." Surah Al-Furqan 25:63. It's not about running away or being passive. It's about choosing your battles wisely. It's about understanding that some fights aren't worth your time, your energy, or your peace. So, what happens when you've mastered all 8 methods? You've stayed calm, spoken gently, upheld justice, forgiven, maintained good relations, been patient, trusted in Allah, and now you've learned to ignore. What does that make you? It makes you untouchable. But here's the final thought I want to leave you with. What if the real battle isn't with your enemy at all? What if the real battle is within yourself? What if mastering these 8 methods isn't just about destroying your enemy, but about becoming the best, strongest, most peaceful version of yourself? Something to think about, isn't it? And if you like the video, then please do share it with your friends and subscribe for more.